Internal Revenue Service IRS Tax News. IRS reminds tax professionals to renew PTINs now for 2021. IR 2020-238, October 20th, 2020, Washington. The Internal Revenue Service reminds the nation's more than 750,000 active tax return preparers to start the upcoming 2021 filing season smoothly by renewing their preparer tax identification numbers, otherwise known as the PTINs, now. All current PTINs will expire December 31st, 2020. Quote, large segments of the taxpaying public rely on tax return preparers to assist them in complying with their filing and payment obligations, end quote, said IRS Return Preparer Director Carol A. Campbell. Quote, obtain or renew your PTIN now so you will be prepared to assist when filing season opens, end quote. Anyone who prepares or helps prepare a federal tax return for compensation must have a valid PTIN from the IRS before preparing returns, and they need to include the PTIN as the identifying number on any return filed with the IRS. So if you're getting compensation for any tax returns that are prepared, then you got to have the PTIN, and then you're going to have to include that PTIN number on the tax returns that you will be filing for the clients as well. So tax preparers must pay a fee of $35.95 to renew or obtain a PTIN for 2021. There's a link to that here. There'll be more information at that link. The PTIN fee is non-refundable. Preparers with a 2020 PTIN should use the online renewal process, which takes about 15 minutes to complete. Form W12, there's a Form W12 link here, along with instructions, provides a paper option for PTIN applications and renewals. There's a link to the instructions as well. However, the paper form can take 4 to 6 weeks to process. Failure to have and use a valid PTIN may result in penalties. To renew a PTIN online, start at irs.gov/taxpros. There's a link to that here. Select the, quote, renew or register, end quote, button. There's a link to that here. Enter the user ID and password to log into the online PTIN account. Follow the prompts to verify information and answer a few questions. Once complete, users will receive information of their PTIN renewal. The online system not only allows PTIN renewal, but can also be used by tax preparers to review a summary of the number of filed returns their PTIN has appeared on the current year, and to receive communications through a secure mailbox from the IRS Return Preparer Office. First-time PTIN applications can also apply for a PTIN online. To apply for a PTIN online, start at irs.gov/taxpros. There's a link to that here. Select the, quote, renew or register, end quote, button. There's a link to that here. And select, quote, create account, end quote, in the new user box. First-time users are issued a temporary password and will be prompted to change their password upon logging in. Select the appropriate, quote, PTIN sign-up, end quote, option once logged in. Follow the prompts to obtain the PTIN online. Opportunity for non-credentialed tax preparers. The annual filing season program, there's a link to that here, is a voluntary IRS program intended to encourage non-credentialed tax return preparers to take continuing education courses to increase their knowledge and improve their filing season readiness. Those who choose to participate must renew their PTIN, complete 18 hours of continuing education from IRS-approved CE continuing education providers. There's a link to that here. And consult to adhere to specific obligations in Circular 230 by December 31st, 2020. The IRS has a video, there's a link to that here, available on how to sign the Circular 230, consent, and print the record of completion. After completing the steps, the return preparer receives an annual filing season program record of completion. There's a link to that record of completion here from the IRS. Program participants are then included in a public directory. There's a link to the public directory here of return preparers with credentials and select qualifications on the IRS website. The searchable IRS directory helps taxpayers find preparers, there's a link to that here, in their area who have completed the program or hold a professional credentials recognized by the IRS. Enrolled agent credentials. The enrolled agent credential, there's a link to that here, is an elite certification issued by the IRS to tax professionals who demonstrate special competence in federal tax filing, individual and business tax return preparation, and representation matters. Enrolled agents have unlimited representation rights, allowing them to represent any client before the IRS on any tax matter. So you can actually act kind of like an agent in that situation, representing the client when the client has issues with the IRS. So as non-credentialed return preparers think about next steps in their professional career, the IRS encourages them to consider becoming an enrolled agent. There's a link to consider becoming here. And enrolled agents, regardless of whether they prepare returns, must renew their PTIN annually in order to maintain their active status.